A religious disclaimer before we start. We all know how in most religions the devil is basically universally shamed. It's the same for my religion. I'll admit the question of wearing a costume like this has always come to my head when I was thinking of maybe asking some of my religious teachers, are we allowed to wear a costume like Daredevil's? Back when I was introduced to the character of Daredevil, I started looking into his media, his comics, his TV shows, his movies, and I remembered a kid in my school for book week. He did come in a Daredevil costume, and I full screamed out, "Oh my god, it's Daredevil Yellow," like an absolute I am still uncertain of the judgment itself, but once I get knowledge of it, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Anyway, let's get to the video.
Well, I was thinking more of like a slow burn, you know? Take my time, build suspense, get into a person's psyche. Let the weight of a truly disturbed mind get under people's skin.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Red.
Foggy's death, whilst one of the best scenes in this show, happened way too fast. Coming up on 10 years of Matt being Daredevil, I need more time with the original cast. This scene was art, but it was rushed, and rushing kills all art. Very well acted rushing, don't get me wrong, and one of the greatest callbacks to a prior season in any show's history.
You know, one thing that you just can't see. You know you're one bad day away from being me.
But feel the atmosphere of this entire scene. This seems like something that would have happened years down the line, after a long time of getting to know Matt and his friends. It would have been more powerful as a season finale, and it would have been more tragic to end it on that note. Imagine if you'd spent the whole season with them, through their ups and downs, all their struggles leading to that moment. You can have it be that they were working on a case that they were struggling to fix up throughout the whole season. And come the season finale, they finally managed to figure it out. And finally being relieved from all the stress of that case itself, they decide to take a night out for themselves, not knowing the horror that awaited them, as it all came down in one foul swoop. Cause in Matt's line of work, when you let your guard down, especially in a happy moment, your enemies will take the initiative to make it the worst day of your life. And everything that could have been triggered for a good first season of Born Again can easily be initiated by one of the greatest finales in any TV show, aka the worst wedding of Wilson Fisk's life.
Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
Now, we're not going to try to bring back the absolute earthquake of a man. It goes against the deal that him and Matt made at the end of season 3, and rushes the redundancy of the no-kill rule. And like said before, you can't rush art, and we're trying to get to that redundancy with a slow burn. So we are leaving Wilson out of this season. We're going to focus on Bullseye and Bullseye alone. And like said before, everything is triggered by this wedding. We're going to introduce the idea of collateral damage for Daredevil. After all, Matt is just an ordinary man who can't save everyone, as seen through all the losses that he's endured over the last 10 years of being Daredevil. And this wedding, it's proof of it. I'm going to pass the mic to Zaffi, this absolute legend on YouTube, and he will explain my idea for a season of Daredevil Born Again. I'd like to call it Daredevil, the Murdered Moral Code.
Bullseye crashing Fisk's wedding. They have a three-way fight. But Matt's trying to defend Vanessa, Wilson Fisk's wife. What the fuck? But Matt is trying to defend Vanessa, Wilson Fisk's wife, after what Wilson Fisk has just done to him. Banged his wife, aka his city. He knows that he can't have Bullseye kill his wife because he needs her. But he's still trying to beat up Wilson Fisk and Bullseye at the same time. He's the only one who's trying to fight on all fronts, right? Now, this is kind of hypocritical because he did get Bullseye to come to this wedding, and now Bullseye's killed a whole bunch of people before this. Matt had to know that that was going to happen, so that's kind of a sus thing on Matt's record. I'm going to be real, but we can forgive it. Okay, it's Daredevil. Who gives a shit?
This is the basis of everything. The consequence of a plan executed by Matt in the heat of the moment. As we all know how angry Matt was during Season 3, which is a good transition into the anti-vigilante task force. Due to the irrational decision-making, Matt would lose the support given to him by the city once this plan was exposed. We can have it be that maybe Bullseye recorded this phone call at the end of Season 3, thinking he was going to use it to bury Fisk in some way, as proof that Fisk has done something corrupt, whilst Fisk was trying to get love from the city in order to rise to power during Season 3. But now since he has this recording, he has a much more sinister purpose behind it. Fisk is in jail, but Bullseye being who he is, he needs to let this anger out on someone. and Daredevil's the perfect victim for it. Bullseye's pettiness in the comics, it's enough to give Eobard Thawne a run for his money, and this guy doesn't even have super speed. Especially due to the rivalry between him and Daredevil, it sets him up as the perfect reoccurring villain, or a perfect background villain, for many seasons in the future, when he can come back to ruin Matt's life even more. And once this phone call is revealed to the public, whether it be anonymous, or Bullseye publicly showing it to the city, Daredevil's reputation is buried 6 feet under, as all of New York is coming after him. It's the whole concept of knowing, and that's what makes Matt involved in this plan. Sure, Matt can't control what people do, but he knows exactly what a person like Bullseye would do in this case. And the fact that Matt couldn't save everyone on that day is surely going to come back to bite him in the worst way. So after hearing this news, the city turns on Daredevil and all vigilantes. And this is where someone like White Tiger can make his grand entrance.
This doesn't concern me. Hey, you're beating on a guy who can't defend himself. It concerns me.
White Tiger's introduction does bring up a very infamous point that the officers make to Matt Murdock in the comics.
Led Bullseye to manically go around New York, killing anyone who ever came across him, leading to a death toll reaching nearly 100 innocent lives taken on Christmas Eve. It was in Daredevil stopping Bullseye in a subway tunnel and watching the train about to kill Bullseye that Matt almost considered letting Leonard be the exception to his no-kill rule for all the pain and murder he's caused. But in the end, Matt would show mercy, which really pissed off the authorities, basically telling Matt that if Bullseye breaks out and goes on another murder spree, which, you know, let's face it, that's bound to happen no matter what you do in these comics, the blood won't be on Bullseye's hands, but Daredevil's.
You can have it be that in all the years of Daredevil's meaningless mercy, as the cops see it by now, with all the lives lost due to Daredevil always letting the villains get away with it, always giving them the second chance, always believing in the best over people that just simply don't want to be helped. They feel as if that use of excessive force is almost, in their eyes, necessary to keep the citizens of New York in line. So when they're beating on that innocent person, maybe they're beating on him due to his suspected, remember, they're working under assumption in my rewriting of this season, so with his assumed involvement in a crime. But when they have a trail leading to a dead end in possible clues in a case, they always end up roughing the citizen or the person they suspect of committing the crime in a very, very violating way. To which every now and then, regardless of his infamous reputation that has now been brought upon him, Daredevil is trying to abolish this police brutality in any way that he can. However, regardless of his selfless efforts, he's sometimes scolded by the people he saves, which it does bother him due to the collateral damage that happened at Fisk's wedding having consequences on Matt's life. But he never returns to that angry state that he was in Season 3. And it's because Foggy and Karen are trying to implement this dynamic into their team, that no matter how many times life has the odds stacked up against them, they always chase hope. They always believe in there being a second chance for them to bite back against the bullet, trying to make a comeback for themselves. That regardless of the case for White Tiger always screwing up for them, as they're trying to free him from all the heat that's coming down on him due to the collateral damage in that subway shown earlier, they try their utmost best to believe in a light at the end of the tunnel. It's like this scene at the beginning of Season 2 where they were given all those gifts by their clients. There was a hopeful atmosphere that they tried to keep, regardless of all the cases piling up on top of them on their desks at the office itself. I'd want to implement something like that in the lead up to the slow burn of madness that they're going to feel at the end of this season. And it adds more teamwork and collaboration to the Nelson, Page, and Murdoch dynamic that they introduced at the end of Season 3 in 2018. As now we have the OG Big Three teaming up to save White Tiger.
The fuck the big three, nigga, it's just big me.
So I know what you might be thinking. You gotta include Frank in this season. When the Punisher rolls into my version of it, he's gonna be the argument why vigilantes should be outlawed and should be put in check. As we've seen in that very famous scene between him and Matt in episode 3 or 4 of Born Again, he still believes that killing people is the only way to rid the city of evil. And with this new police force masquerading as the Punisher, He clearly sees his values being violated as they are still wailing down pain on the innocents and clearly making victims out of them the same way Frank's family was made victims of when they were gunned down and killed in front of him. And that's not Frank's vision of what a better Hell's Kitchen should be. So you can easily have him come in and say,
I told you ain't a real superhero, nigga. Fuck y'all, this is my dream, nigga. I gotta put some respect on my name.
This also adds more weight to Matt Murdock's normal life as a lawyer, as now with Daredevil's reputation being in the dirt, Matt, Foggy and Karen try their best to fight the anti-vigilante task force from the legal base front, where we do see more court scenes, namely White Tiger's case, it being the bulk of the story this season. It also allows Matt to draw inspiration from another vigilante. Remember, at the end of Season 3, Matt Murdock's collateral damage was very much his fault. He literally led Bullseye to that wedding by disclosing the location, and then from that point onward, Bullseye killed a lot of people at that wedding. But with Hector, it was accidental. So when Matt sees this case, he feels inspired to actually help this guy, because this guy is genuinely innocent. He never did anything to kill that cop. So whilst Matt's life as Daredevil is just being put through the ringer and is just in general like falling apart and becoming terrible as it is, he sees a new purpose, another way to keep looking at hope regardless of the lack of belief the city and the police department has in him for being very insensitive at the end of Season 3 to the lives lost to Bullseye. But this could also cause an uprising, the anti-vigilante task force I mean, as their rough nature is starting to cause a bit of rebellion in the city itself. People don't feel safe at all, and it's shown in the show itself through BB Urich's reports. People don't feel happy without any vigilantes on the streets. They keep saying you need to look over your head, you can't even enjoy a night out without the worry of possibly not seeing your family after that day. So regardless of many of the people hating Daredevil, there's still a lot that do, and it's that minor few in those moments where Matt saves them, they look to him with gratitude. And that moment after, per se, let's just say 1 week, Matt goes out, saves 9 out of 10 people, and they all scold him after hearing the news of how he initiated the killing of several people by disclosing the wedding location to Bullseye. And they give him trash over it, they scold him. But there's always that one out of those 10 people that he saves that looks to him with gratitude and admiration. That moment there is almost the dopamine dump for Daredevil. He keeps fighting on regardless of how people perceive him, regardless of how people feel about him, regardless of it getting to him. He keeps fighting on regardless, because there is that aforementioned light at the end of the tunnel that him, Foggy and Karen always look to when times get rough. And from one vigilante to another, Matt Murdock can admire him, show great love for his cause, because he himself fights that war every single night.
I don't think you understand. Being the White Tiger is more than just putting on a suit. It's who I am. It's a calling. I didn't choose it. It chose me. Might as well ask me to stop breathing.
We had just dropped our son off at a game. We were driving home, and this SUV, it runs a stop sign and it just plows right into us. The engine caught on fire. I tried to open the door, but it was stuck. I thought for sure we were dead, until all of a sudden I see someone running toward us. It was White Tiger. He saved our lives.
A few weeks ago, I was leaving work. It was late, and I have to cut to this alley to get home. This guy, he tries to grab me. I screamed, but then I saw he had a knife. I was so scared. If White Tiger hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened.
And now, let's hear from a more objective party. This is a police report filed by Officer Lucas Barlow. On the night of October 2nd at 2:38 a.m., I responded to an attempted burglary call. When I arrived, the suspect was hiding in an alley, and before I could draw my weapon, he attacked me without provocation. We fought, and then White Tiger appeared. He intervened, pulled the suspect off me, then helped me subdue and arrest the suspect.
More police reports. Officer Reyes, Officer Wong, Officer Morales, Officer Grant. All of these tell a different version of the same story, and it isn't the story of a man who has a vendetta against the police. In fact, I think many of the people in this room would consider White Tiger to be an ally.
Fucking hell, I'd suck his dick right now.
Rose Glazing is about to give Daniel LaRusso a run for his money.
It's not the Miyagi-Do way!
The trial can either be successful for Nelson, Murdoch, and Page, giving them a good mid-season victory, even though the vigilante law is still being enforced by the police. But if the court case isn't won, White Tiger still goes out there and suits up to protect his city. Why? Well, in his words,
it's the right thing to do.
And the cliffhanger where he does die, it is well invited, because it emphasizes the sheer hopelessness in the situation itself. Daredevil basically lost an ally in this fight against the anti-vigilante task force, and the numbers that are against him in the city's vote against Daredevil's bad actions at the end of season 3, they're growing to a staggering amount. And keep the part where his daughter's very disheartened by his death. That was very good acting.
I hate them, Mr. Murdoch. I hate this city. No one's doing anything about it, and no one's ever gonna do anything about it. Because he was just Hector from the Heights, and they're the fucking cops.
And unlike the other seasons where Matt and Foggy would argue over Matt being Daredevil, Matt can have a genuine conversation with Foggy saying, look, we've tried the legal way, but I've got no choice now, and I'm really sorry, I've got to do this. And have Foggy be 100% all the way for it. And as we enter the second half of the season, now Matt's attention and his full motivation is being thrown into being Daredevil regardless of the hate that he's getting from the people who are against him. This whole thing, it's for Hector. And we keep the episode where Daredevil and Punisher go against the anti-vigilante task force. But we also got to show consequences for Frank's brutal actions in this scene. Matt Murdock and Foggy Nelson are beloved by many people throughout the world, namely the black community. And namely in Brett Mahoney.
One of his homies in the TV show is a nigga. Punisher, his black buddy is his best friend. Punisher, he get down with the brethren.
But as said before, Frank Castle still believes in his ruthless brand of vengeance. And at the end of the second Punisher season, it ended off with Brett Mahoney still hot on Frank Castle's trail. So he's clearly got some unresolved beef with Frank Castle. And Frank's methods are still seen as criminal. And same with the scene in Born Again, we still see Frank unload that vicious brutality upon the cops in a way that not even Matt can accept. So this is bound to leave a sour taste in Brett's mouth, almost like a violation of trust, because in the eyes of the NYPD, they're still working with a killer, that being Matt, Foggy, and Karen.
Jim. How could you? I worked with you, trusted you, and you never told me? That's as far as you go, murderer.
And this is where you have that scene where Frank gets arrested by the NYPD, eventually thrown in the jail cell, and has to make his way out. You can have it be that Matt gets away and Frank probably gives him a chance to get out. So it's that moment of loyalty and almost respect that Frank has for Matt. So he's like, go Red, get out of here, whilst he tries to hold off the cops. But the getaway itself makes Daredevil look more guilty. I know I haven't been including that much of Bullseye ever since the collateral damage expose on Fisk's wedding. Here's what I'm going to say. Bullseye is going to be in the background of all of this, slowly but surely breaking down Matt's life piece by piece. The cop that killed Hector, turns out that was Bullseye the whole time. If we're going to fumble the court case, the guy who fumbled the court case, it was Bullseye. The exposing of the wedding that changed everything for Daredevil due to his impulsive rage and insensitive and reckless thinking even, which did get a lot of people murdered during Bullseye's killing spree. And now we see him, Benjamin Leonard Poindexter, aka Bullseye, right back at the lobby where this scene happened, and he stumbles across some CCTV footage of the actual night itself, and he's able to hear this conversation whilst he was paralyzed, hell, even unconscious. He learns everything about Daredevil. His name, those he loves, basically everything and anything to know on Matt Murdock. And as we now end the story on Matt, Karen, and Foggy, all rather tired after the past couple events of the last couple months, they think to themselves, it's going to be very hard for Matt to, per se, pursue his hero journey due to all the thin ice he'll be treading on, because now the police are on his back full time. And this is the end of the season, basically, so we can set this up for season 2. And they figured out just for tonight, since Matt's identity is still secret, they can at least let loose one more time and enjoy themselves on a night out like they used to, leading us right back to the very first episode of Born Again.
So let me tell you a secret. All it takes is one bad day. One moment that should never have happened. The ground beneath you starts to crumble, and trust me, I know firsthand. All of us do. But one bad week, it can kill a multiverse.
Without missing a beat, Matt goes to the police station to break out Frank. And he does come across where they're keeping Bullseye. And he slips into that room without nobody knowing, with a gun in his hand. I know what you guys are thinking, but it's not gonna happen. Well, not now at least. But Matt did lose his friend to this guy. So to say he stealthily slipped into the police station, not overwhelmed by grief, anger, and rage, would be a lie.
This is when their brutal rivalry really and truly begins. Daredevil approaches Bullseye once more at the hospital with his body completely destroyed, and plays a game of Russian roulette to scare the daylights out of Bullseye so to never pursue a life of villainy again. And Bullseye is left genuinely terrified after the fact.
Frank, overhearing the turmoil that Matt had just went through, tries to find the right words to say sorry. But Matt just tells him, Hell's Kitchen is a shadow of its former self. And if there's one thing the last year has taught me, I've got to have the odds in my favor. I'm gonna need allies for whatever the future holds for me. Bullseye does live this encounter. I don't want to kill him right here, not now. There's a whole possibility of storylines that we can go into purely based off of just their rivalry. After all the trauma that unfolded, Karen has also decided to take some time to herself. She doesn't leave Matt, she will be back, but she just needs some time to readjust. Matt understands as he does say his goodbyes. This is right after the Bullseye court scene. But we do then have a transition to the future, one where Matt's moral code has been twisted into something dark. as he's looking upon a family getting mugged. He's gonna make sure when he hits these criminals, they're gonna stay down.
Hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Help me!
No one's coming, lady. Take his wallet.
Hey, freak! Maybe you missed the news! Batman's dead! That look don't scare us no more!
What the hell?